3¼ U.S. pounds. With the most defenses in the history of the cruiserweight division, his record stands at 40 wins, 4 losses and 1 draw, with 27 wins coming by way of knockout. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight, making his 21st world title appearance, please welcome the popular and renowned two-time cruiserweight champion of the world, introducing Markko! And his opponent across the ring, the defending world champion, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing white trunks with silver trim, hailing from Kiev, Ukraine. His weight, 90.5 kilograms, or 199½ U.S. pounds. He is undefeated in his campaign to the ring with a record of 12 wins, no losses, 10 wins coming by way of knockout. He is ranked the #1 seed in the World Boxing Super Series, and tonight he is making the 3rd defense of his world title. Ladies and gentlemen, here is the 2012 Olympic gold medalist. Please welcome the reigning and defending WBO Cruiserweight Champion of the world, the undefeated Alexander Usyk. Once again, a referee in charge. Now to give instructions is Robert Bird.
Okay, gentlemen, I gave you your instructions in the dressing room. The only thing I'm going to remind you of now is very important. When you hear me say stop, what that means is stop whatever you're doing, give me a clean break, protect yourself at all times, obey my commands at all times. Anything on the band right here is going to be good. Anything on the band right here is going to be good. Gentlemen, I expect you to conduct yourself in a professional manner, and this fight be clean. Mr. Usyk, Mr. Hoop, gentlemen, let's do this.
So the two men staring fixedly at one another during those final instructions. All seconds and extras now leave the ring, and we are moments away from the opening bout of the World Boxing Super Series quarterfinal action in the cruiserweight division between the WBO World Champion Marko Huck and the challenger WBO World Champion Alexander Usyk, and the long-time champion Marko Huck challenging tonight. So here we go then, the first of a scheduled 12 3-minute rounds, the WBO Cruiserweight Championship of the World on the line. The champion, Alexander Usyk, operating out of the southpaw stance, wearing the white trunks, trimmed with blue. His opponent, Marko Huck, the flat-footed individual, wearing black trunks, trimmed with gold. The man who held the WBO Cruiserweight title with such distinction during his long campaign and tenure as the champion. Usyk, such a wonderful mover around the boxing ring. Took that world title in just his 10th professional contest. Long right jab to the body wasn't too far away from Usyk, then again using his twinkle-toed movement to evade the attempted counter from Marko Huck. So Huck tucking up tightly, but a hard left hand to the body did get through from Usyk. And Usyk, such a twinkle-toed individual for a man who possesses such heavy hands. Huck just with a furtive glance over to his red corner here at the Max Schmeling-Halle in Hamburg. And as you saw from the opening sequence, what a magnificent amphitheater for boxing this is proving to be. Hard right to the body was scored by Huck, and so Usyk countered immediately. Both men looked to invest early on in body shots. Marko Huck competing in his second outing of 2017. Coming off a loss, remember. And he squared off against Maris Bradis of Latvia for the vacant WBC title. His lesser regarded IBO crown was on the line, and immediately Robert Bird taking firm charge. Marko Huck's corner team were up on the ring apron. That's a transgression of the rules, of course, and upon a resumption, Alexander Usyk scored with a good left hand to the body, pawing forwards, but it's a two-phase attack from Marco Hook, because the first jab fell short, but as Usyk was retreating and came into the ropes, then Hook started to wail away to the body. Good right jab in evidence from Usyk, who's got his composure once again. Deep into this opening round, both men showing flashes of the tactics that they want to employ. Alexander Usyk, with the twinkle-toed movement around the boxing ring, has established a good right jab. Some hurtful shots have been landed to the body from Marco Hook. Far less activity. A couple of lead right hands tried. Usyk engaging reverse gear to make them fall short. Again, rather telegraphing that right hand. Couldn't find the range, but nor did Usyk make him pay. Marco Hook back to his red corner. Alexander Usyk fairly swaggered back to his, and he's electing to stand in between rounds while Marco Hook takes a seat on the bench. Let's listen in.
Guys, where's the stool? Why are you asking us? Mit Druck immer wieder nachgehen, hast du gehört? Die Beine mitnehmen und schön atmen, wenn du schlägst. Okay?
So to the second round we go. Alexander Usyk, Olympic champion in London 2012 in the 91-kilogram heavyweight division. Absolutely sensational boxer in the unpaid code. When you think about that class of 2012, well, it's a pretty impressive bunch of medalists and champions in particular who have gone on to make a significant impact in the professional ranks. Vasyl Lomachenko, his compatriot, of course, already a contender for the mythical #1 spot on the pound-for-pound list, the mythical pound-for-pound list. Had the trailblazers as Usyk scores with a good left hand to the body, then a right hand upstairs followed. Remember, Robert Byrd said that anything on the waistband of those trunks is good. Neither man have their waistbands riding up around their pecs in the way that some veteran fighters like to do to increase the territory on which a foul blow can be called, but Robert Byrd was clear in his instructions that anything on the waistband is good. But again, back to that Olympic class of 2012. The trailblazers of Nicola Adams, Katie Taylor and Claressa Shields in the first ever women's Olympic boxing tournament. Claressa Shields already a world champion in the professional ranks. Nicola Adams and Katie Taylor already making their mark in the pros as well. And of course, who can forget Anthony Joshua, man who took super heavyweight gold in the same Olympics as Alexander Usyk, and already he is the unified heavyweight champion of the world. His next date already booked for October 28th at the Millennium Stadium in Cardiff after that terrific contest. As Hook gets through with a good right hand to the body against Vladimir Klitschko earlier this year in front of 90,000 at Wembley Stadium. Usyk onto the front foot, using that quick footwork once again, and he's beginning to establish his jab now, looking to find a hole between the high-held guard of Marco Hook. Hook making that one fall short. That's a rather crude, ponderous-looking right hook attempted by Captain Hook. But remember, it was the lead right hook that put Krzysztof Vladici on the floor. Krzysztof Glavatsky on the floor for the first time in his career. He attempted to make a 14th successful defense of his WBO crown. Ultimately came up short over on the road at the Prudential Center in New Jersey when he was put on the floor for the first time in his career. The second time really heavily as he works away with that right hand to the body once again, bringing heavy leather. Usyk grins his gum shield contemptuously, gets his boxing stance beneath him and marches his man back towards the ropes and begins to score with an effective southpaw left. Action heating up here in this round, and the bell barely discernible as the decibel level rises here in the Max Schmeling-Halle in Berlin, Germany. The fans up on their feet at the quickening of action towards the concluding stages of that second round. So Usyk concentrated, trying to pin Hook to the ropes. Hook demonstrating good defensive ability and instincts to get himself out of that place of confinement, but went right back to the ropes on the other side of the ring, causing him to try to initiate that clinch, making life a little bit uncomfortable for Marco Hook. So round 3 of the schedule 12, the WBO cruiserweight title on the line. But remember, this is the first contest in the inaugural World Boxing Super Series. The Muhammad Ali Trophy on the line, the greatest prize in the sport of boxing, is what these boxers are working towards in this 8-man elimination tournament. Single elimination, remember, not a round robin, as we've seen in previous tournaments, the Super 6 most notably, between the super middleweights. Here, the equation is quite simple. Win and you progress, lose and you go home, as Yusik scored with a good left hand just a few moments ago. That counter right hand wasn't too far away from Hook, and he comes forward with that right hand cocked back, locked and loaded, looking to unload on the chin of Alexander Usyk. Usyk, though, remaining composed under fire, back to the space of center ring, and looking to set up his shots with that poking ramrod right jab. Good right hand to the body scored by Usyk, by Hook, excuse me. And the men exchange jabs there. Connie Mittermeier with constant instruction from the right, from my right here at ringside for the red corner, continually instructing Marco Hook. Marco Hook competing in his 46th bout tonight, competing in his 21st world title contest, so he knows what he needs to do up there in the boxing ring, but the reminders constant from Connie Mittermeier in the red corner to the right of our commentary position here. Beyond the midpoint of the third round. And again, Usyk continuing to move wonderfully, just circling his man in a counterclockwise direction, going around the clock face, never allowing Hook to settle. And look at that, when Hook gets onto the front foot, Usyk just retreats, keeps a distance between he and his man, and keeping him at bay with that annoyance of a right jab. The attempted 1-2 salvo from Hook is short. Usyk waving that right hand, tempting and teasing with it before getting through with a point-scoring left cross to the body. Usyk continuing to contract and expand the ring as he likes. He was on the ropes there and took a hard right hand to the body. Remember, there was a brief physical altercation between these two men. I say altercation, it was just Hook making his presence felt when the two men came together at the press conference. As Usyk gets back onto the front foot, scores with a left cross. That brings a round of applause from his vocal support here. Hook comes back with a right hand. Usyk counters immediately with the ramrod right jab once more. And again, Hook coming forward with a single phase attack, but short to the mark, and now beginning to bring uppercuts through the middle. Hook made uncomfortable, driven back to the ropes. And Usyk just backs away, as if to let that superiority marinate both in the mind of the judges and indeed of Marco Hook, as if to say, yeah, that was my portion of the round. How'd you like that? A really effective forward foray from Alexander Usyk. So into the fourth round we go. Remember, next week the World Boxing Super Series action continues from the Echo Arena in Liverpool, England. Callum Smith taking on Eric Skoglund, who has come down from the light heavyweight division in the first quarter-final in the super middleweight tournament. Here, our focus is on the cruiserweights. Alexander Usyk making the third defense of the title that he won in such impressive fashion in Krzysztof Blavatsky's backyard in September of last year. His two title defenses have come on the road in the USA, and here he is on the road once again in this first quarter-final of the World Boxing Super Series. That lead left hook wasn't too far away from Marco Hook, nor was that right cross. And remember, it was the lead left hook that he used to put Blavatsky on the floor. But any success that he's having here is being countered immediately. You can see the face of Hook just beginning to redden from those accurate right jabs that continue to pepper their way through from Alexander Usyk. And his energy levels remaining very good indeed, continuing to work over his man as he gets through the left uppercut and right hook out of that southpaw stance. Back comes Hook with a two-shot salvo, but it's easily evaded by Alexander Usyk. Trying that lead left hook once again. It has plenty of pop on it, does that punch, but it was blocked easily. That's a wonderful left hand to the body from Usyk. Back comes Hook with a right hand of his own downstairs. Usyk nodding in acknowledgement. You can be sure that shot got his attention, but he's back in the space of the ring now. And what a long right hand around the corner that just got through from Hook. But again, Usyk bearing that gum shield in that maniacal grin that he possesses, and that hard left hand has caused Hook to become just a little bit disorganized. Now more left hand success, downstairs and upstairs from Alexander Usyk. What a left hand, what a combination, and Hook backing away. Usyk on the front foot, closing down his man. 40 seconds to go in the fourth round, and we are seeing some terrific exchanges. But it's Usyk who's getting the better of those exchanges, because his success is more sustained and more eye-catching, and he seems to be spurred into action every time Hook enjoys a little bit of success. Now Hook forced his man back to the ropes in the neutral corner just above our commentary position. Marco Hook breathing through an open mouth. 32 years of age now, remember, Hook, contesting his 46th professional contest tonight. There's a lot of miles on the clock, but remember, the 4 defeats on his record have all come at World Championship level. So made to be a little bit uncomfortable, but there's nothing new for Marco Hook, as game and determined as they come. But a very good round for Alexander Usyk in the face of some firepower from Marco Hook. It was he who, from my vantage point, had the better of it. Some of the action from that fourth round. Cracking left hand, and that preceded a fantastic combination. Uppercut through the middle, hooks around the corner. That caused Huck to cover up, and while he was in that defensive posture, Alexander Usyk exploited it, and he started the fifth round quickly. Immediately onto the front foot, scoring with a rock-hard right jab, driving Hook backwards. Hook standing stock still near the neutral corner. Usyk continuing to look for openings in the attempted defenses of the former WBO champion. Trying that lead left hook once again. Hook, as he gets onto the front foot. There's a wonderful lead right hand out of the orthodox stance by the man who resides here in Bern. But again, it's Usyk who's landing the heavy leather, hard right hook. Hook got behind the left hand of the 32-year-old. Alexander Usyk is 30, but remember, he spent such a long and distinguished time in the unpaid code. Exceptional Olympic-style boxing career. 2012 Olympic gold, we've already mentioned, of course, that was his second Olympic tournament. He also competed in Beijing 4 years prior to that. Hard right hand to the body landed by Hook. But again, look at that for a spearing right hand. Marco Hook had put on the earmuffs, bracketing his head with his hands, and still the punch precision from Alexander Usyk, managing to snake his way through the guard with that southpaw right. Fighting off the road now, Usyk. Good right hand lands from Hook, and the showboating in evidence from Alexander Usyk, saying, yeah, is that your Sunday punch? Well, that didn't hurt. He dipped his knees in exaggerated fashion and then got immediately back onto the front foot, stepped back into the pocket and took it to Marco Hook. Hook trying to lead right hand once again. And Usyk continuing to grin that gum shield contemptuously in the face of the punches that are coming in his direction. Minute to go in the fifth round. Cracking contest so far in this, the first quarter-final of the World Boxing Super Series. The trophy bearing the name of the greatest of all times, Muhammad Ali, the three-time heavyweight champion, the 1960 Olympic champion. And he gave his blessing to this tournament before he passed away. It was run by him. He liked the idea of the format. He liked the idea of the concept. And that is why this trophy bears his name as Hook walks his way forwards and scores with some straight punches. But back comes Usyk once again. Hook bobbing and weaving, trying to evade the shots coming his way, and then latches on like a limpet, clinging desperately around the waist of Alexander Usyk, causing referee Robert Byrd to intervene. But in fairness, Robert Byrd hasn't had much to do in this contest. He's being fought at a terrific pace, and he's a terrific spirit. And Hook sagged into the turnbuckle before tottering back out to center ring. On the back foot to end the round. Another very big round in favor of the reigning champion in that fifth stanza. Some of the action from round number 5.
Konzentriert, lass dich nicht treffen.
Amounts of time near the corners on various sides of the ring. But that was a cracking right hand, but look at that. Little chicken leg dance from Alexander Usyk before coming back with another heavy-handed combination. So into the 6th round we go, and it's a tardy exit from the boxing ring by Connie Mittermeier on Marco Hook's corner team. Thankfully, no harm done. And Usyk just betraying some frustration there with the fact that Hook is hitting him low. There's a sporting touch of gloves, all fair in love and war, of course. So Usyk targets the body before coming upstairs with that same shot, a solid double right jab. So the lead legs tangling momentarily between the orthodox and southpaw fighter. Marco Hook was put under pressure in that 5th round. Usyk wasn't too far away with that southpaw left. They're moving to his left to avoid the attempted salvo from Marco Hook. Usyk, such a thoughtful fighter. Even when he appears to be in range, he's always bobbing, he's always weaving, he's pivoting off either left or right. So he's never a stationary target, even though he appears to be in punching range. Peering between his gloves, not the brisk start to this 6th round that he put forth in round number 5. A little bit of patience, and of course, in a 12-round contest, boxers will pick their spots, they will take breathers. Perhaps this, a comparative breather for Alexander Usyk, who has just taken his foot off the gas momentarily throughout the first half of round number 6. But Usyk hasn't been able to raise the tempo, and his legs still look a little bit weary to me as he runs into a jolting right jab from Alexander Usyk. Usyk now coming forward, 3-shot combination. Back comes Hook with the same salvo. Hard right hand to the body, and Usyk complaining that is again on my belt line. That's a low blow. Referee Robert Bird just intimating to Hook that is to keep the punches up. And again, Usyk bobbing, weaving, working his way inside. In the neutral corner on the far side of the ring once again is where Marco Hook retreats to. All so much experience under the belt of Marco Hook. Does he have the physical capacity to still demonstrate that experience the deeper we go into this contest? Driven across the ring, finally by a left cross once again from Usyk. And again, he stands stock still, looking to launch his counter. Here's the lead left hook, followed by a right hand, but they're easily evaded by Alexander Usyk. And then he comes back with a counter 2-punch combination, but Hook was wise to that. Closing seconds of round number 6. Hook plodding forwards on rather heavy-looking legs, but he couldn't find the range as Usyk had his back on the ropes momentarily. Usyk back on the front foot now. He walks Usyk, he walks Hook back towards the ropes, and there's an exchange on the bell. And Alexander Usyk is enjoying life up there in this his 3rd title defense.
Das ist Einstellung, Marco. Das ist nur der Kopf, okay? Die darf nicht nachlassen. Marco, schau mich an, Marco. Aufrecht. Okay. Ausstrahlung, Junge. Hast du mich verstanden? Marco, Ausstrahlung. Okay. Zeig ihm kein Ding nicht. Du musst immer da sein. Du musst ihm zeigen, dass du der Stärkere bist.
Cracking left hand again from Alexander Usyk. Really following up on the success that he created.
Good defense, good defense.
So 6 rounds completed and potentially 6 to go in this WBO Cruiserweight World title fight, the first quarterfinal. In the World Boxing Super Series, the Muhammad Ali Trophy is what is at stake for the winner. This will be resolved by May 2017. Remember, previous tournaments have taken far longer to resolve, but this starting in an 8-man quarterfinal bracket, and the lineup is absolutely sensational. All of the top cruiserweights in contention. The only man missing is Denis Lebedev, but all of the other top boys in action. vying for the inaugural Muhammad Ali trophy. As Usyk on the front foot once again, walking down his man. Hook fires a speculative right cross, but his shots not finding the range now. Usyk remaining concentrated, back into the pocket, tucking up tightly behind his gloves, peering in between them. And again, he's just continuing to move counterclockwise, going downstairs to the body effectively. And that's a low blow from Usyk, but Hook doesn't complain. Instead, he steps right back into the breach. Wonderful counter right hand on the back foot from Usyk. Catches Hook coming in. Halfway through the 7th round. And Hook, such a tough individual, is Marco Hook. Of his 4 defeats, only 2 of them have come inside the distance. As Usyk gets onto the front foot, Hook bobbing and weaving, but he can't evade these blows. He's back to the space of center ring now and turns the tables, pinning Usyk to the ropes, but look at that left hand, pinning Usyk to the ropes, and that perhaps instructive and indicative of the fact that he may well be feeling the pace, because having turned the tables on his man, he didn't take the opportunity to work away. Instead, he was looking to get some respite from the pace that he's being set by Alexander Usyk. You mentioned the fact he may have taken a break in the first half of round 6 as he had left-hand success with a cracking cross through the middle before bringing an uppercut underneath. And Hook now almost following his man around the boxing ring, a rather ponderous-looking overarm right fight in. Usyk jigging those shoulders, relaxed up there in the boxing ring, taking a breather now, bobbing and weaving in front of his man. The right hand from Hook bounces off the gloves of Alexander Usyk. Now he walks his man down once more, looking for openings with feather-like shots, pecking and poking with that right jab. Hard right cross fired out by Hook. Did the same shot once again, but now here comes Alexander Usyk, unloading heavy leather. Hook covering up, trying to fire back with the right hand, but he's under significant pressure, and there's the bell. As Hook managed to weave his way out to center ring on legs that didn't appear to be rock solid. Very good round of boxing once again in that 7th stanza from this man.
Все отлично, все, он пошел на тебя, все то, что надо. Вот сейчас то, что надо. Смотрите, кого пошел. Das ist noch nicht mehr, da musst du gleich nach. Lass ihn doch nicht so schnell schlagen immer. Du musst schneller schlagen, agier doch du. Hast du mich verstanden? Dann musst du Sauerstoff wiederholen. Der Herr setzt ab, dann musst du nachgehen.
More of the success that Usyk enjoyed having.
Wir müssen nur durch, okay? Kämpf, Junge,
Walks
kämpf.
Hook back into a corner. Hook valiantly trying to fight his way out. But I just get the sense that his forward forays are becoming a little less effective now. Because look, after landing a solid right hand, Usyk just completely disregarded it and came back with his own salvo that was far more effective. Turn to the 8th round then. Marco Hook trying to establish a hard right hand to the body, and Robert Byrd saying to Usyk, listen, stop complaining. Let's go. I said that anything on the belt line is good. Let me ref. You do the fighting. Bright start to the round from Marco Hook, who endured something of a torrid round in round number 7, particularly in the concluding stages. And just a word of housekeeping regarding the scoring here in the Muhammad Ali Trophy, the World Boxing Super Series. Tournament boxing, of course, does require some adaptation to the Marquis of Queensberry rules. And so, irrespective of the result tonight, in the event that it is a draw, somebody will be progressing through to the 2nd round. There may be a rematch outside of the Muhammad Ali Trophy, as Usyk again gets onto the front foot and ends that salvo with a good left hand to the body that just caused Hook to back away. Was he hurt by that? Because he dropped his elbows. And then he gets tagged by a straight left hand straight through the guard. There's the same shot once again. Hook bobbing and weaving on the ropes. Usyk remaining poised and patient at center ring. But in the event that this contest is a draw, that's a nice lead left hook from Marco Hook. But in the event that the contest is a draw, a 4th judge has been scoring this contest. That's Robert Delpierre from France. He sat in a rather unusual position, directly opposite our commentary position here. And if the contest is a draw, his scorecard will be brought into play. If that still doesn't determine a winner, we will then go to a countback system. And the countback system will be the 12th round. So that's an encouragement for the fighters to finish the contest strong. No coasting if you think you have the contest in the bag, as has happened in previous big fights. Perhaps most notably, as Usyk gets through the cracking right hook, just causes Hook to wither backwards before initiating a clinch, and Hook looking rather weary up there now, his mouth wide open. That's a counter right hook though from the cagey veteran Captain Hook. But back comes Usyk, and his success is more sustained, touching his man up both upstairs and downstairs. Hook partially turning his back, looking to launch a sneaky counter right hand again. But in the meantime, sustained fusillade of punches coming from Alexander Usyk. Left hand success, and then a sneaking underhand left. Hook in real trouble, and the momentum of such from Usyk caused him to slip to the canvas, and he was tagged while he was on the floor, Alexander Usyk. Now timeout has been called. What is going to transpire here? Robert Bird has called time, sent Alexander Usyk to a neutral corner, and is now reading the riot act, and a point has been deducted. Significant incident here in this round, because the momentum of Alexander Usyk sent him to the canvas, and while he was on the canvas, he was struck by Marco Hook. Referee Robert Bird was on the spot and has taken a point away from Hook, who was missed by a country mile with a lead left hook. And Marco Hook's problems continuing to mount here.
You fucking machine, huh? You machine, okay?
Yes. Marco, своем. Kämpf weiter. Wir haben все, что надо, все идет. Смотри, не стартуй, не стартуй сначала раунд. Возьми паузу, посмотри и поставь Marco. Bleib konzentriert. Du musst schneller agieren. Verstehst du? Nicht nur warten und in Zeit
Some of the action from that round, and it was a terrific round. This is where the forward momentum of Marco Hook sent Alexander Usyk to the canvas, and that's where he attempted to strike the man while he was down. Robert Bird caught time immediately. But it was this salvo that again drove Hook backwards, and he's been in this posture increasingly as the contest has gone on. So into the 9th round we go, and Alexander Usyk, perhaps sensing that Marco Hook is ready for the taking, has got onto the front foot and has started this stanza at a furious pace. Hook, again, it's as though his offense has been reduced to sneaky lead right hands. Now he's getting to work with punches from both flanks, targeting the body, but being warned for hitting and holding. Usyk again intimating that he's been struck low. He gets back onto the front foot. Lead left hook from the German challenger falls short of the mark. Usyk just loosens up that upper body, that neck and those shoulders. And now bobbing and weaving in front of his man once again. Left cross success. And these punches seeming to have an increasingly noticeable effect on Marco Hook now. Every time the left cross crashes home, he totters backwards on legs that appear to be less than steady. Usyk, encouraged by the vocal support he's receiving here at the Max Schmeling-Halle in Berlin, remaining patient, remaining poised, remaining composed, looking for the openings as he looks to break down the defenses of this durable former champion. And again, it's cries of Usyk, Usyk, reverberating around this magnificent amphitheater for boxing. That's a hard right hand to the body from Hook. Now, did that hurt Usyk? It certainly inconvenienced him because he retreated to the ropes and then initiated a clinch. Midway through the 9th round, right hand wasn't too far away from Hook, but again, every time Usyk gets onto the front foot, and irrespective of what he is hitting, be it gloves or forearms or body or head, Hook is being driven backwards. Now, is he trying to launch a sneaky counter right hand like that while in a seemingly vulnerable position? but it appears to me, as he's put under pressure from some accurate punch spitting from Alexander Usyk, bobbing and weaving in his own corner now, Marco Huck. But it seems to me that Huck is putting all his store into a knockout. Usyk waves him on contemptuously. And again, he's saying, listen, man, you keep hitting me low, keep your punches up. Usyk back into the pocket, Huck remaining concentrated. Big left hand bounces off the gloves of Huck. But again, he's driven backwards into the ropes. And perhaps we're seeing the difference here between the vitality and the energy of youth and the weariness that comes with being a veteran of 46 professional contests. Marco Huck again taking up what is becoming an increasingly familiar posture in the neutral corner, but defiantly fights back on the 10-second clapper out of the space of center ring. But it's another very good round of boxing produced by the reigning defending champion, Alexander Usyk.
Komm. Marco, weiter geht's. Immer weiter. Noch haben wir es nicht. Genau schlagen. Du triffst doch noch. Geh weg vom Seil und lass dann jetzt hier 3-4 Hände reinschlagen. Da musst du sofort dagegen hauen. Komm her.
Свое все. Мистер Ту сначала не надо. Спокойно мягко раскачивай, подергай, 10-й раунд.
While trying to bob and weave and bring all of his experience to bear here is Marco Huck, but he's getting caught by a fair few of these punches. Solid right hand crashed home twice by Usyk during that combination. Round 10 then. Alexander Usyk growing in confidence as this contest progresses. And increasingly, he is asserting his dominance, both physically and tactically, over Marco Huck. Huck onto the front foot. But he's not yet closed the distance on Alexander Usyk to launch any offense of his own. Huck now trying to work behind that right jab. Alexander Usyk, who won the title in just his 10th professional contest. Before that, that was the first time he went the scheduled distance. Before that, it was 9 knockouts out of 9. And again, the effective defenses of Alexander Usyk caused many of the punches in that combination to cannon off. And in stark contrast, Alexander Usyk is perfectly precise with his punch picking, hooks around the corner, uppercuts through the middle. And it wouldn't surprise me if a late stoppage were produced here by Alexander Usyk. Good left hand to the body from Huck. Such proud defiance in evidence from the former champion. 13 successful title defenses. But he's on the receiving end of some sustained pressure here. He comes back with a good right hand, but Usyk takes it well and immediately steps back into punching range, scores with a right hand upstairs, then working the body. Huck bobbing and weaving once again, trying to fight his way off the ropes, but only totters across the boxing ring to take up residence on the ropes on the far side of the ring, near Usyk's corner. Furious assault being launched by Alexander Usyk. Is he looking to finish it here? Huck trying to hold on, but instead he's only covering up, bobbing and weaving near the ropes. That left hand to the body caused him to wilt. Again, he's trying to fight his way out of the corner. Uppercut ripping through the middle. Robert Byrd poised, taking a close look at Marco Huck. All of his strength being put to the test. Usyk working away furiously. Shots underneath. Robert Byrd has stepped in and has waved it off. In the 10th round of this contest, Alexander Usyk makes a successful third defense of his WBO cruiserweight title, stopping Marco Huck on his feet. Referee Robert Byrd rescuing the proud, defiant former champion. Stopped in the 10th round, subjected to his second successive loss here tonight, and stopped for the 3rd time in his career. It was a valiant effort by Marco Huck, but he was outgunned by the younger, fresher, current champion. And Usyk makes his way over to the corner of the man he has just conquered to exchange in a sporting embrace with Connie Mittermeier, and indeed
I see. You go professional
with Marco Hook.
He is a one hell of a guy. One hell of a guy.
So sentiments exchanged between the warriors, who have just produced something very special indeed. Here in this, the first quarterfinal of the World Boxing Super Series. What a start to this tournament for the Muhammad Ali Trophy. Alexander Usyk from Ukraine, saluting all sides of the arena here at the Max Schmeling-Halle in the German capital. Ukrainian flags being waved in celebratory fashion all around the arena, because Alexander Usyk had just made a successful third defense of his WBO cruiserweight crown with a hard punching 10th round stoppage over the game, but ultimately outgunned Marco Hook. And this was how it finished. Well, we suggested that a stoppage could well be in the offing, because increasingly Marco Hook was spending more time in this posture, reducing his offense to speculative pot shots. But once Alexander Usyk got his man going, he was relentless, continuing to find the accuracy, continuing to unload the potency of punch that had the head swiveling of Marco Hook, causing the intervention of referee Robert Bird. A technical knockout scored by Usyk in the 10th round. He extends his perfect professional record to 13 wins out of 13 fights, 11 of them coming inside the distance. Kisses for the camera and indeed the fans ringside from the tournament #1 seed and reigning WBO champion. And he has just eliminated the man he elected and selected as his rival, sending a message to the rest of the quarter-finalists in the World Boxing Super Series that Alexander Usyk is the reigning WBO champ, the tournament #1 seed, and he means business. And what a message he has sent out tonight, defeating Marco Hook. And one has to pose the question now as to what the fistic future will hold for him. Acknowledging the wonderful support he's received here from his fellow Berliners here at the Max Schmeling-Halle. He put up a valiant effort, but ultimately it wasn't enough. And he was ultimately overwhelmed by Alexander Usyk, who makes a successful defense of his WBO cruiserweight title and rocks into the semi-final stage of the World Boxing Super Series in the cruiserweight division.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time of 2 minutes, 18 seconds in round number 10. Our referee in charge, Robert Bird, stops the contest. He is the winner by way of technical knockout, advancing to the semifinals of the World Boxing Super Series, and still the undefeated